How are Arizona Cardinals top picks Walter Nolen III, Will Johnson acclimating to their new organization while we hear from the first and second round picks, Johnny Venerable?
Plus, who is poised to have a bigger impact, not long-term, but this year in 2025? We compare the 16th overall pick to selection 47. It's PHNX Cardinals starts now. Hey, welcome in. Live from Studio K, presented by our friends at Circle K. It's the PHNX Cardinals podcast, your premier #1 Arizona Cardinal podcast. Like and subscribe. Give us a 5-star wherever you get your programming. I'm Johnny Venerable. He is Brack on this sleepy little Tuesday, May 20th, in the thick of the offseason here. Cardinals fresh off a banner weekend with Kyler Murray and company. We're going to talk about that at the celebrity softball game. We had an opportunity, as Bo said in the intro, to chat with Walter Nolen and Will Johnson. But first, it's Bo in studio. Okay, it's Damon, Dawg. Welcome, friends.
Like and subscribe. What are you going to do? Threaten us? Maybe.
Do it.
Absolutely. Oh, jeez. Hey, don't buck at me. What's up, Bobby J, Ollie, Mr. Fat Gangster, Ozzy, Ryan Walker, Shaft, Amadeus, T. Clary? How we doing? Alec, I love it. Darren, Johan Dotson, one of the best chat names in the game. So strong. Joey, Bonnie, Brockable. It's so tough to say. It goes against everything I stand for. ZT, one of our newest diehards. Hopefully everybody's doing. And then, of course, just a fond hello from our guy, Senor Poop. How are we doing, Senor Poop? I hope you're well. And then, of course, our guy, Jakai Whittingham. So many great people here to talk some ball on, as you said, a little bit of a sleepy Tuesday. Talk to Budda Baker, his thoughts as far as this revamped defense. Year 9 for Budda. And we'll get some insight from the Cardinals' heart and soul, especially on that side of the football.
We got 2 interviews that we'll discuss and break down here in just a little bit. We had a chance. I was very fortunate on Saturday to be joined by not only Will Johnson and Walter Nolen at Kyler Murray's celebrity softball game. I don't know if they knew they were going to sit with us, but we just abruptly, producer Shane, producer Dan, we dragged them on set. And they were very accommodating.
Missed them.
Yes.
I think we also kind of, we didn't imply it. We didn't say it, but I thought they didn't believe that they had a choice.
No.
So work to our advantage.
Absolutely. I expect one, if not both, to play in the game next year, but it was the perfect kind of appetizer for the evening that was. And I want to get into this conversation first before the interviews, if we could. And I want everybody to harp in the chat that, the question of who's going to have the bigger impact. I think on the surface level, if you would have told me like post day 1 of the draft, Walter Nolen or the field for this class, I probably would have said Walter Nolen in terms of the impact. And again, you're not wrong for thinking that. I do think that when you talk about the landscape of this revamped defensive line, which Budda alludes to later in your time with him today, and where Walter Nolen is going to be able to kind of pick his spots, I think Will Johnson is going to play more snaps this year for the Arizona Cardinals. I think Will Johnson, and we've talked about it. If you missed last Friday's show, in the 3rd segment, Buried on a Sleepy Friday last week, we talked about a certain photo that had become available, and it broke down the defensive back group for the Cardinals that were running around at mini camp, and there's a player that may or may not start or had started for the Cardinals at outside corner. Will Johnson is going to accompany that spot, and I think if he comes out of training camp as your starter, just kind of by default, he is going to play more snaps. He's going to play more snaps anyway as a corner compared to what Gannon has told us, Bo, about his defensive linemen. am I wrong for saying like I think Will Johnson this year is going to give you just a little bit more oomph for that defense in 2025? Is that crazy to say?
No, I think Will Johnson provides them a prospect that they've been kind of keying in on, but with kind of a first round, status, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they get Max Melton. They trade down and take Max Melton out of Rutgers in the second round in the 2024 draft, and they like him. I think they are very confident they're going to develop him into a really rock solid starting cornerback. But I think what they envision with Will Johnson, even from the jump, is somebody that can take kind of a stranglehold on that CB1 spot, that can play in this defense to a T, play that kind of zone coverage and be that ball hawking defensive back that they've coveted for so long. They just haven't been in a prime position like they were, where you could just fall into their lap. Now, of course, I think the medical concerns maybe disqualified him for a first round pick, but they felt fully comfortable taking him 47th overall. And just the skill set alone gives him that chance to just slide right in to a spot they've been kind of dead set on kind of filling throughout the offseason. Yeah, it is strange as far as like Sean Murphy Bunting. We'll see what, his future is, I'm sure, shortly. Like, we got mandatory mini camp coming up in less than a month. But it really does feel like they utilize the pick on Will Johnson. It's not going to be one of those ones where it's just going to be like draft and stash. I think this is a guy that play right away. You talk about, does he outperform his 16th overall pick, his draft classmate, the guy who's just ahead of him, Walter Nolen? Does he out-snap what Max Melton last season, who was just over 50% of snap? I think so. I think he's just got it's just one of those kind of things where the stars aligned and the Arizona Cardinals fell into who they view as a starting quarterback day one.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. They got 2 first-round picks. And I know everybody says that, but it's like, no, if you read the trades, you read the tea leaves, like the common assumption is if Will Johnson's playing, then he's a first-round caliber pick. He did not fall to the second round because of ability or character concerns or whatever. And he looked healthy to us, joining us on set. Let's cue it up, Damon. Let's start with Will Johnson here, chatting with Bo and I at Kyler Murray's celebrity softball game. Let's hear from him.
We're out at the Kyler Murray celebrity softball game. Arizona Cardinal newest defensive back, top draft pick Will Johnson. My guy, how we doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing well. We're fired up to have you in the Valley. We're fired up for you to watch your teammates today. Who's going deep today for the Cardinals?
That's a tough one. I'm gonna go with James. James Conner. I feel like he gonna hit one deep.
We heard that from your head coach, Jonathan Gannon's big on James Conner. He thinks he's going to be big at the dish. What are you thinking about Marvin Harrison Jr.? We saw he was swinging the bat for the first time. I think the third time all of his life. You think, Marvin's an athlete, though. You were out there playing golf with him recently. You think he's going to get a couple hits?
Yeah, he is. He might. His golf swing isn't the greatest, but he might have that bat swing in him. I don't know. It's a little different swing.
How's minicamping going for you and the guys?
It's been good. Just for me, it's really just getting to know everybody, getting comfortable with everybody, getting comfortable in the defense, and they've been welcoming us with open arms, so it's been great.
A lot of people love that you got that 0. They love it. And we've been workshopping a couple nicknames. Unfortunately, a couple of them are spoken for, like Sub-Zero, Agent Zero. You got anything in the works?
Nah, I don't. I just been letting people run with it themselves, and I'm ready to go make my mark on the field first.
Cardinals have had a lot of historically great defensive backs, cornerbacks. This is the first time we've been in this market a long time where it's felt like your arrival kind of coincided with the enthusiasm of a Patrick Peterson once upon a time, what you did at the collegiate level. Like, what are your aspirations here as a rookie and beyond for the Arizona Cardinals?
Really just come in and help this team and this defense in any way I can to start off. Obviously, I got a lot of personal goals, and I'm going to hold those close to myself for now. But, I obviously want to win Super Bowl and get to the playoffs and do all those great things. So we got a lot of work to do, and I'm just excited for the journey.
What's been the best part of post hearing your name called and being an Arizona Cardinal? What's something like, man, I wasn't even expecting this, but what's been the best part?
I would just say just the team, the guys on the team, the players, the coaches, just the relationships are already starting to build with them, and how cool they are, and just how they welcome us and want us to be the best version of ourselves all the time.
You're going to wrap up minicamp here in a little bit, and then you get some time off before training camp. You got any plans for your time off?
I'm just working. That's
it. Getting
ready for the season.
House hunting, doing anything in the area?
Yeah, I've been doing that too. I'm getting close to finding something.
Nice.
Everybody likes to say iron sharpens iron. What are those practice reps going to be against 0 versus 18?
They're going to be great. A lot of back and forth. We're going to get better, and it's going to help us get ready for Sundays.
Did you feel like, I'm sure you've been asked this 1,000 times, but did you feel like during the draft process, like Arizona was a team that had targeted you throughout, the course of the draft process?
I mean, I did come out here and visit. I visited the facility, but honestly, I had no clue, if I'm being honest with you.
JG, high energy guy.
Yeah,
you seem like a pretty cool, calm and cool guy. Is it just you just like that from your head coach, or can you match that energy?
I can match that energy. I usually match that energy with my play. I don't do too much of the talking, but I love his energy. He's always the same guy, and he's always ready to get us going.
Cardinals had a feisty defense last year. There's aspirations, obviously, for a top unit this year. One area that they definitely will need your attributes, getting the hand on the football, is something you did at a high level, maybe better than anybody at the collegiate level at Michigan. Like, how do you take pride in that in your game, getting your hands on the football?
Really, that's just what I played a position for. Stop the offense from scoring points and do my job and allow the defense to score points too by taking the ball away. So that's what I try to do.
CeeDee Lamb's about to step up there. George Pickens is on the other side. Week 9, Monday Night Football. That gets you going?
Of course. I just thought about that. I saw my heart like, oh yeah, they are on the same team now. That's crazy, but
it is wild.
Yeah, that'll be a good matchup for us.
Well, it's whatever we land on nickname-wise, we know we got a great corner coming out of Michigan. Will Johnson, man, all the best. Thanks for sitting down with us. Enjoy the Kyler Murray Celebrity Softball game.
Appreciate you guys.
Great stuff from our guy, Will Johnson, poised for a big season. Your takeaways from number 0 with us on Saturday?
Well, just that. He wants to take the football away. I mean, and it's something that we haven't seen too much of the last couple seasons. Now, have they been set up for success, what they deem success, valuing the ball both on offense and defense? Probably not, but now they have the ability to be a true rush and cover team. And the additions on the defensive line with his draft classmate and Walter Nolen with Calais Campbell, Dalvin Tomlinson, and Josh Sweat, they'll get that pressure. And then you got a guy that just knows with a nose for a foot with the football with Will Johnson. And also, Johnny, just how business-like he is. He's just a guy that's just locked in. You could tell he's a serious guy, all for the best. And, we didn't talk about the motivation, the drop. It was a celebratory night. We don't want to be talking about, spilled milk and something that, he deems he was upset with. But, I think he's going to have that chip on his shoulder for quite a while and looking to prove, 31 other teams wrong.
Yeah, I think Will Johnson has the opportunity to be, the best rookie defensive back since, I don't know, Tyrann Mathieu, Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie. I think he fits that build. And I thought Max Melton did a hell of a job, what was asked of him last year. Will Johnson and Max Melton as your 2 outside corners, Garrett Williams underneath, maybe the best up-and-coming slot corner in the NFL. Like, you'd be hard-pressed on paper to find a better trio of cornerbacks, youth and athleticism to build around. I mean, we've talked about year after year teams. How many times have the Vikings taken a corner in the first round? They just keep swinging. Like, we got to see Will Johnson perform on the field, and you got to see how he does on NFL Sundays. And it's a very hard position to learn. It's probably outside of corner and maybe tackle, the hardest position to come in the NFL and excel at. But I have no doubt, like similar to Max Melton and Garrett Williams, I think he's going to be thrown into the fire and give every opportunity to earn starting reps on the outside. Let's shift over to Walter Nolen, because again, no disrespect to the big man, just with the infrastructure of this defensive line, it's like you brought Dalvin Tomlinson and Calais Campbell to play here, to play quality snaps. You've got Darius Robinson, right? We're going to see what shakes out with Josh Jones and Bilal Nichols. I expect one, if not both, to be released. Then you've got guys, quality vets like LJ Collier and Dante Stills. But here's what I will tell you, and we mentioned this on yesterday's show, like the people around the organization continually raving about Walter Nolen, the football player, and what they've seen, right? Like it's always kind of a big sigh of relief. Like there have been stories about like you love a prospect and then you get on the field at training camp or mini camp or whatever, and you're like, oh no, this guy can't play, right? And I do think, dating back to the time with Isaiah Simmons, not to beat a dead horse here, but it's like there were talks of like, oh no, what did we do? What did we get ourselves into? What's this guy even going to play? Everything, we had coaches tell us this recently, that they have seen from Walter Nolen on the football field, on the practice field, it's like, this just has a chance to be a special player. So while I think maybe Will has a chance to play more snaps early, I mean, Walter Nolen has the pedigree to be, and we've talked about it with Fran Duffy, the best defensive tackle in this draft class. Let's cut over to our time with the 16th overall pick out of Ole Miss.
Nolen sitting down as CeeDee Lamb pops up. Trey McBride handles it, loves it. Little routine pop there, Walter. And we got one pitch, one out. Cardinals first round pick. We've gotten to talk to him a little bit, but we're fired up to have you here in the desert, my man. How you doing?
I'm good. What about y'all, man?
We're doing well. We were fired up. So we do tons of mock drafts for our podcast, #1 Arizona Cardinal podcast here. And throughout the course of the offseason, it was like, Walter Nolen. What do we need to do to get Walter Nolen as a member of the Arizona Cardinals? Like, have you felt that love from this fan base? Have you felt how excited people are to have you here?
Yeah, you know, I've been going to a couple different like grocery stores and stuff, and just everybody showing the love. It's been great.
How is hitting the grass for the first time, putting on the practice uniform? I saw you hit the sled, man. I got some pop there.
I'm just glad to be back playing football. You know, we kind of finally put everything in the back, and now trying to focus on getting a win every week. Man.
I think you wouldn't mind me telling this story. I chatted with Cardinals QB coach Israel Warford before the game, and I was like, yeah, how's everything going? He's like, watch out for this rookie class. Watch out for the 16th overall pick. He said when you hit the sled, it just sounds different. So you struck me as somebody you let your play and do the talking for you.
Yeah, I don't really do too much talking. I just play ball every week. Man. I'm just blessed to be able to do it, honestly. So.
Throughout the draft process, what do you think was the main thing you tried to convey to teams that this is what I do, this is how I play the game, this is why you should draft me?
Really just trying to, get everybody a chance to understand me and just understand the person I am and what I'm going to bring to the facility every day. And, I'm just kind of glad Arizona, took a chance on me. So.
What does it feel like to play for Jonathan Gannon, a defensive tackle savant, helped develop guys like Fletcher Cox in the past, a pro comp that a lot of people are throwing around that name with you and Fletcher Cox? What does it mean to you to hear those comparisons?
I'm glad to hear any comparisons, honestly. Now I'm just trying to kind of start my own, embark on my own journey and become my own person.
Y'all under Lane Kiffin there, Ole Miss, you had a great defense this past season. A lot of guys, Princely went, Amos went, yourself, so many stars from that defense. Now you're coming to a place where it's equally as stacked. What do you think about your group? Calais, you got Dalvin Tomlinson, you got all these players. How's that feel?
It feels like I'm back at Ole Miss, honestly. I'm just a young guy around the team. I'm trying to learn everything they doing to get great as they were, as great as they are.
What does a great rookie year look like for you? A lot of people are like throwing around numbers, defensive rookie of the year, but if you judge yourself, I'm sure you're your biggest critic. What's a great year look like for you?
Really just get my team to the playoffs, man. I feel like with doing that part, everything else I want selfishly going to come. So.
What's your favorite stat? Sack? TFL? What's your favorite play to make when that you blow up in a game?
Win. Or as I like to say, a goose egg, that mean offense ain't scoring.
Yeah.
Anytime that happens, that's a great game. So.
The newest star defensive lineman for the Arizona Cardinals. See him this fall at State Farm Stadium. It's Walter Nolen chopping it up here at the Kyler Murray Celebrity Softball Game. Thank you, my guy. It's great to meet you finally.
Thanks, man.
Love it. Soft-spoken, yet poised to dominate. He's a real dude. And again, like he and Darius, the prospect of both of those guys playing together long-term. We've had both of them on the show. Mm-hmm. Same position, very different people. And that's the beauty of the NFL. And I think the makeup of this team is everybody gets to be themselves. And you don't have to go up there and be some showman, but you love football. And you can tell when you sit with him how authentic he is and how that came across. And there were rumblings about, him jumping from what was an A&M to Ole Miss, and people were concerned about his character. And I know it's only been a short amount of time. The people we talked to rave about him as a human being. Authentic, what you see on the screen is who he is.
Zero concerns as far as the guy, the player. You can read all those stories and you can maybe entertain the noise if you'd like, but as far as the people it matters to, they don't care. And you can tell he's a bit of a no-nonsense guy himself. Just wants to go out there and play, soft-spoken, right? He looks like a guy that likes to back up his game with his play. And it's very similar, as you said, similar but different to Darius Robinson. Like Darius Robinson, I think you're going to find, and you really enjoy watching him in what Jonathan Gannon calls year 1.5. Right. That he's a technician. I think he's got some power, right? Some sneaky power. We saw the size along with, his draft classmate, Marvin Harrison Jr., that he's amassed throughout this offseason. But then you've already got like the ready-made size in a guy in Walter Nolen at 6'3", 300 pounds that also is very light on his feet, but, can really kind of play violent. It's going to be great to see. I think that the rotations, offensive coordinators are going to have a tough time. Their heads are going to be spinning the way that Nick Rollis and Jonathan Gannon are going to have that thing as kind of a revolving door of just big bodied guys coming in and making some noise.
Yeah. Work ethic's not a question. The person's not a question. And again, like I hate to keep harping on like rookies who have not worked out for this franchise or players that have come here with a stigma or a mantra that it's like, what can football do for me? What can football provide for me instead of, hey, I love football, I'm going to come here and help this team win? Should have made both sit next to the players instead of what looks like backpack Bryce Young. The people were commenting that Walter Nolen just a smidge bigger than your boy, just a little bit.
We have to get that screenshot. Maybe just put Walter Nolen next to Johnny and his sparkling water.
I would hope Walter Nolen is bigger than me. I think there's concerns if he's not bigger than me. So he's how many? No, we're not doing that. That's not appropriate here.
That's more a better side by side. I think one that's kinder to my co-host.
You put me in the Kenny Pickett camp. That's fine.
I love it next to Kenny Pickett's hands. That's more his like a nice comparison instead of Johnny next to 6'3", 300-pound Walter Nolen.
I don't do it often. I posted a photo of my family that came out to the softball game Saturday, and there was a hilarious comment from one of the supporters of the show. It said, "You make 5'6" look like 6'5". And I said, you don't know how much that means to me. That gets me right here.
Look, right, it's not about the size of the dog. It's about the fight in the dog, right? Or
you've ruined it. You've already ruined it.
The dog, yeah. It's got to be your dog, right?
I stood next to Cam Johnson too, and he was just like, high school student, intern, who are you? And I'm like, hey, Cam Johnson, what's going on?
I'll take a water, sir. Thank you.
No, Cam Johnson's way too nice to do that. Google said he is 6'4", 320. Is he 6'4"? Do you think Walter Nolen's 6'4"?
His official combine size was 6'3", 300.
He is somebody that is going to use his quickness and his explosiveness, whereas Darius is going to outmuscle people. And it's not to say Darius is slow by any means, but Walter's ride up. And I mentioned this because it's like more and more people have come out and said this. It's like Milton Williams, Fletcher Cox. I think Milton Williams plus, like that's his makeup, is somebody who is slightly undersized. But again, like Aaron Donald was undersized. He doesn't have to come in and be he's not a space eater. He is somebody that you get him one-on-one at the point of attack against guards and centers. He's got an opportunity to really make people pay for. He's going to be a TFL machine for this franchise in the same realm as Darnell Dockett. That's what you're shooting for.
Aaron Donald, like he was small for his position. I mean, he was like just over 6 feet. He was like 280. He was undersized in both categories. Walter Nolen is pretty normal for where he plays, but like to say that he's got that mode of play and that he wants, to be disruptive like Aaron Donald, like you'll take that because you've got a bigger version of Aaron Donald potentially. And like, I'm not saying he's Aaron Donald. He's got a long way to go. I think that is Aaron Donald's a 3-time defensive player of the year. He won the Rams outright a Super Bowl in the second half against the Bengals. Yeah. He's a guy that you shouldn't just throw that comparison around lightly, but it's somebody that you want to emulate as an up-and-coming player. You'll take that. I mean, there's nobody better.
He's a great compliment to if he and Darius Robinson hit their ceilings, they're perfect compliments for each other. How is Budda Baker feeling about this revamped defense? Bo chatted with him. That and more. Shamar Stewart still holding me out? Who would have thought? It's PHNX Cardinals. So fired up for this team. We couldn't get, unfortunately, with Bet365, anytime home runs with our friends at Bet365 for the celebrity softball game. But here's the next best thing. Bet365, they've got over 90 million users worldwide, 780,000 events each year. Maybe we can get them to put some lines on the K1 tournament next year. But regardless, right now, perfect time. They've got early NHL payout offers throughout the course of the Stanley Cup Finals. They've got Slam Dunk Saturdays for the NBA postseason. They've got 100% parlay boosts. All you got to do, double your winnings on parlays with Bet365, 100% parlay boost. Opt in now. New customers get $150 in bonus bets when you bet just $5, win or lose. Again, sign up. All you do, download the app, sign up now. PHNX 365. Place a $5 bet after depositing $10, and those bonus bets are ready to roll for you. You got to be 21 years and older, physically located here in Arizona. If you were someone you know has a gambling problem, wants help, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP. Text NEXT STEP to 53342 or visit problemgambling.az.gov, Bo, for more info.
Everyone needs a reliable place to look at the board and make some nice bets. Bet365 is that. And then also everyone needs a checking account to put all your winnings into. And our friends over at Mountain America Credit Union, that's where you go. They've got the My Style checking your lifestyle going on right now. Why settle for one without benefits? Get that checking account that's going to give you all the perks. That's right. Get My Style checking from Mountain America Credit Union. It's the account that works as hard as you do. Build in perks like restaurant deals, mobile phone protection for guys like Johnny, telehealth access, identity protection, loan rate discounts, offers on travel events, and a whole lot more. Make My Style your lifestyle with a checking account that does more than just hold your money. Apply today. macu.com/mystyle. That's macu.com/mystyle. Membership required based on eligibility. Some benefits require no cost registration activation. Terms, conditions, and no exclusions apply. And insured by the NCUA.
Smash that like button. Subscribe here. Get us to 50,000 subscribers here. PHNX Sports on YouTube. For the longest time, with respect to the other players on this defense, it was Budda Baker and some unknowns, some spare parts, right? Now, Budda Baker, Bo, you chatted with him today, the savvy veteran on a unit that on paper, could be the best he has ever played on. Drafted in 2017, we think a surefire Hall of Famer one day. Your takeaways from your time with the Cardinals All-Pro safety?
Yeah, before we get to the clips, I think that he wanted to kind of not temper the expectations, but understand that there's a process here. You go out in free agency, you sign guys like Josh Sweat, you get Dalvin Tomlinson, you bring back Calais Campbell, who, crazy enough, these two Cardinals legends never intersected. They missed just by an offseason. You have a lot of excitement, plus the rookie class where you've got 6 of the 7 selections on the defensive side of the football. You got to see it on grass, and you got to get up to speed as far as the system goes, the verbiage, just playing, the chemistry as far as playing on defense. There's a lot of new pieces there, but I think he is excited about the prospect of all these, this revamped defense and what it's going to look like. I primarily asked him about the defensive front seven because of what they want to do. What every defense wants to be is rush and cover, and it felt like far too often last year, Johnny, it was him and the defensive secondary having they held down their end of the bargain, but weren't getting as much pressure as they needed up front. Budda Baker on what he thinks about the revamped defensive front seven.
I think the additions up front will help us tremendously. Like I said, at the end of the day, we got to see what it looks like when we're on the field, all 11 on the field. But I definitely think having a great defensive line helps the DBs and just help us get to the football and maybe get our hands on the football a little more. And me being a DB, I'm definitely excited.
I mean, he's really never had, outside of Chandler Jones, a consistent pass rush, right? And, I think the knock on his Hall of Fame candidacy is probably the lack of takeaways. But I mean, what he does in the box, what he does to interject enthusiasm to this defense, it can't be measured. It's a big reason why he earned an extension for good measure. It was a 3-year deal that was reported on late last year. Like, hey, we're in the season. We want Budda Baker here for 3 more years. I just feel like Budda Baker has probably had, unfortunately, been the biggest. He had, unfortunately, to carry this franchise in a lot of lean years. And now I hope that in the twilight of his career, he gets to be put on the national stage where he's belong, right? He's been pretty consistently certain years like the lone Cardinal representative on the NFL's top 100 and a player that has gone to the Pro Bowl by himself, right? And, we remember that when Larry was here and Adrian Wilson was here. There are guys like Budda, and the reason you have so much respect for him on top of their play is their commitment to winning and excellence. We remember those clips from Hard Knocks a couple of years ago, him begging and pleading for his teammates to meet him at his level, right? And now, we saw after the brief holdout / trade request, it took him about 5 minutes around Gannon to say, this is my kind of guy. I'm gonna stick this out, and let's reward Budda Baker this year for his patience with this rebuild. And now it's like he can be the architect and the orchestrator of this defense that, by the way, should be a firm top 10 unit, if not higher.
Very few like-minded peers in that locker room during his stint here, right? I mean, it was
a lot of me guys.
Yeah, you would take, everybody would say you would take 11 or 22, 53 Budda Bakers, right? But they're just realistically just weren't anywhere close to that. There was one Budda Baker at some points during his tenure with this franchise, and just didn't have people that matched him as far as his intensity. Of course, I think Jalen Thompson has been there, his running mate there in the defensive secondary, especially at the back end. They've been great with each other, but there just hasn't been. And like he talked about the differences as far as the defense, like you go from man coverage primarily with Vance Joseph, a defense that was really based on creating negative plays, where I think like with Gannon and this defense is more zone based and creating opportunities to take the football away. And maybe at the end of his career, he can finally get some opportunities to get some takeaways. Like he even mentioned today, like opposing offenses so often could just key in on him. Like he was the only guy that when offenses were game planning for the Arizona Cardinals, they said, can't let 3 be this game record that we know he can be. Everybody else, you just put a hat on a hat, take care of him. But just, you got to know where 3 is at all times, because he's got the potential. Everybody else, like, we feel pretty confident we can either easily, subdue or just run our game plan and be all right. Now, I think he's got some guys that can ratchet up the pressure up front, and also some guys that can really kind of take advantage of some mistakes in the secondary for the first time. Like it is just the ingredients are all there for a recipe with Budda Baker to kind of lead the charge with a really kind of impressive defensive effort from week 1 to week 18.
Yeah. What else did Budda Baker have to say today, Bo Brock?
Yeah, I mean, he got into kind of breaking down, what's going on as far organizationally, gave some insight as far as, talking with the general manager, Monty Ossenfort, and some of his coaches about, the direction of this team.
Yeah. I've gave Monty and, our coaches all the praise. I've been talking a lot of smack to them. They know that. So, I always talk to them and, see what we can do better and stuff like that. And, definitely excited for the additions that we have, and excited to just go in and come and work each and every day with those guys and, play great football at the end of the day.
He's talking about not only talking smack to the front office and his coaching staff, but also the new additions as far as the young guys, and really trying to get them acclimated. But like Budda Baker, he's one of those guys, like out on the softball field, something he didn't play softball, he didn't play baseball really regularly growing up, and just started playing golf. And he's just a guy that likes to run and chirp and stuff like that. And I think it kind of tests players' mental and gets them ready for what they're going to face on each and every other Sunday.
Yeah, to me, he is taking on the Larry Fitzgerald leadership role seamlessly. And the Cardinals, I mean, it's pretty wild, Bo. You've got Kelvin Beachum, who's, right now slated to be a backup, but a year-to-year player who's the oldest player on the team, right? You need Kelvin Beachum, absolutely. But like the oldest 10-year starting player of note is Budda Baker, which is pretty wild to say. Like that's why it's so vital that Monty Ossenfort was able to keep he and James Conner around. Not because they're just great football players, but because you've got a very impressionable team. We just got done talking about Walter Nolen, especially now Will Johnson, like spending time around Budda Baker every day. It's invaluable, right? It's invaluable for those kind of people. We talk about Walter Nolen now being able to play alongside Calais Campbell and Dalvin Tomlinson, Jordan Birch playing opposite Josh Sweat, right? Like guy was, a hair away from being Super Bowl MVP. Like those acquisitions aren't done by accident. Yeah, you want the impact, but those are the kind of players that hopefully are going to be, not, hey, JJ Watt, like save the team, AJ Green, Rodney Hudson. We need your prime years now. Like everybody understands the expectation for Calais Campbell. We don't need you to play 80% of the snaps. Come in here and be a leader and maybe play 40% of the snaps and give us a big play or two a game, right? The Cardinals are just so much better balanced with the infrastructure and the building output of this team that you and I can sit here and it's like every single veteran acquisition and now Budda Baker's extension, we understand like the end game. Like the end game is Taylor Demerson eventually takes over the safety room, hopefully in a couple of years. And Budda Baker gets to be rewarded for his patience. So I just feels like right now that the plan of roster construction is being done pretty seamlessly by the Cardinals leadership.
Yeah. I mean, done are the days of Budda Baker, like his offensive kind of counterpart, right? The captain of that side, like Kyler Murray. Those guys having to play hero ball in order for this team to have a chance each and every week. Now they have, a collection of talent on each side of the football that's created the infrastructure to where they can just play within a system and play to their strengths. And if things do break down and like, a playmaker, a quarterback escapes the pocket or whatever, Budda can make a play on the defensive side of the field and make a play and not have to go give up his ability to maybe get some takeaways just to let this team keep its head above water defensively. He's entering his 9th season. It's crazy. So he matches Calais Campbell. So Calais Campbell, even though Budda's been here now 9 straight years, Calais will enter his 10th season as a Cardinal. So he does best him as far as tenure, but consecutive tenure now is Budda. Said he grew out his beard and his position mates calling him uncle. So you got uncle on the defensive side, and then you got grandpa on the offensive side and Kelvin Beachum.
I mean, this is going to sound, there were a couple of people on last night's show commenting that there's some shilling going on for the Arizona Cardinals. And you can take this little fanboy podcast at face value.
Sure.
I think this is the most likable Cardinal team in some time. Like certainly, those Arians teams were incredibly likable. Pat P and Fitz, right? And Carson Palmer, young players like Tyron ingratiated himself. Like Dwight Freeney, it was a very likable team, right? And I think the hard part with a lot of the Cliff teams was people didn't have respect for that style of football that they were playing. And they felt like it had a shelf life, right? And, they were older players that were, playing here past their prime, had made their mark elsewhere. It's like this is a very likable team led by Budda Baker and Kyler Murray and all these players now that are going to be developed by this coaching staff. The idea is it's a novel concept. They're going to play their best football here in Arizona. You're going to get to see them grow and mature as professionals and people. And that's how consistent winning is done. So Budda Baker is the gold standard, but the Cardinals need, it's of course, cliche, more Budda Bakers. We need more stories about guys signing second and third contracts here. He is such an anomaly because of the malpractice by the prior regime.
Yeah, I mean, people can get lost in the hyperbole and they can kind of roll their eyes and they can do all they want. That's fine. This market, this fan base has been starved for a consistent winner. And I don't think we're out of line by looking on paper, one of the most talented rosters in years. And I think rightfully so, getting the fan base amped up about it. That's not us shilling. That's us telling the truth. After watching it from day one, from them deconstructing this terrible roster to building it back up to now being it primed to make a big jump and be on the precipice of something special, like kicking the door in on a playoff appearance, that shouldn't be lost on this fan base. And if you want to turn off, if you're turned off by that, then that's fine. Don't watch the show. We talk about this Cardinals team every day. And like, we're excited to be able to tell people like, hey, this is a team that you should get behind going into this season. So like, you can lose me with all that.
Amen.
Yeah. Yeah, Damon, would you like to give your prediction for this season? I saw it on Twitter before your time off. Would you care to share some light on that?
Yeah, Johnny, as much as you want to pin me against this fan base, and I can be that black sheep for you if need be.
I do. I want it.
I predicted a winning record through the first portion of the schedule, and as I replied to you on Twitter, how about we try something new this year? How about we try, instead of second half collapse, we try second half peaking at the right time? Oh. That's what I'm in for as an Arizona Cardinals fan.
Yeah, you disinterested in that, Johnny? No. Damon Dawg was just innocently answering the question we posed on either Twitter or Instagram. I can't remember.
Twitter.
And asking what was the Cardinals record going into their bye week in week 8?
Yeah.
And of course, we know we've been talking about it a lot. The first 6 games are against non-playoff teams, and then you've got the Packers going in the bye week. And Damon, what'd you say? 6-4?
No, I think 4-3.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, sorry. That math doesn't math.
Yeah. I had 6-1. You had 5-2, and Damon had 4-3. Which is I told him it was the equivalent. No disrespect of him spitting in my face. Coming over and spitting in my face. 4-3.
Hey Johnny, how you doing?
4-3 is like you're basically announcing that everybody's going to lose their job and get fired. At 4-3. That's what you're saying. That's fine. That's fine.
That's Damon. Just Matt with numbers wise, he's saying, "Hey, Jonathan Gannon, you're gonna get fired." That's what I'm predicting.
I'm surprised he didn't tell Gannon on the show and just hop off the mic and just be like, "Hey, JG, I got you guys going 4-3 through 7 games. Thoughts?"
I told I think I was in Disneyland or like just about to walk into the park, and I looked down at my phone and I read that tweet of Johnny saying, "You might as well come up to me and spit right in my face." I was crying laughing.
Damon at the celebrity softball game, JG's sitting next to Johnny, and he's like, "All right, we're about to be live in 3, 2, 1. Oh, by the way, JG, I have no belief in you or this team.
JG,
you're live.
JG, I really don't. I'm not buying the team this year. Sorry. I'm not seeing it. I know you made some splash moves this offseason. I'm not seeing it. Speaking of moves this offseason, what about one the Bengals may regret? The holdout continues for Shamar Stewart. That plus your super chats. It's PHNX Cardinals.
Oh my gosh, our friends over at Pure Edibles. Are we ready for Pure Edibles? I mean,
we are
in Arizona. Up I-17, man. I love it. 130 dispensaries. You can find Pure Edibles, the full-fledged candy company that offers gummies. They got the kicks. They're like Starburst. And, of course, they've got the caramels and hard candies. Pure Effects clearly listed on each 10. So you know exactly what effects to expect. No getting blindsided by a crazy trip or anything. It doesn't even exist in their vocabulary, because you can be prepared for what effects to expect from Pure Gummies. They got sleep support gummies. They got candies with uplifting effects derived from unique cannabinoids such as CBN, CBG, CBD with marijuana derived from THC. Create up in Flagstaff, but they said it's time to go to the big leagues. We've been called up to the show. They're now in the Phoenix area, and they call it home, and they're also calling 130 dispensaries home right now, statewide. Pure, designed to be ripped, bit in half, making them easily shareable, and dial in that exact dose. Go find yourself some Pure Edibles products from one of the 130 dispensaries across AZ. Pure Edibles.
Thanks to our friends at Pure Edibles. Thanks to our friends, our dear friends at Circle K, sponsor of the show. In Studio K, it's America's thirst stop. And if you're not thirsty by now, give it time. It's about to hit triple digits in the Valley. Manana. How about a nice, cool Polar Pop? 79 cents. But how do you get it? Well, you got to go join the Inner Circle, the free membership program with our friends at Circle K. So easy to sign up. Download the app. All you got to do, you don't have to give them anything outside of your email and your phone number. You're ready to go. Save 25 cents per gallon on your first 5 fill-ups. Save 3 cents per gallon every single day. Again, thirst has met its match. Join the Inner Circle for free by downloading the Circle K app today. Terms and conditions apply at participating locations. Visit CircleK.com for more details. Hit that like. We're low on likes. That's fine. That's fine. I don't take offense to that, but it hurts me. So drop a like on it.
I feel like when Damon made his pre-buy record prediction, that's how I feel with looking at these likes.
You know what the worst part about this is that if I do end up being right, the way in which I would go about, kind of putting that in Johnny's face specifically would really feel like grave dancing on a team that I care about and fans of this fine program that I deeply, deeply care about. So I feel like I'm kind of in a lose-lose situation here. I'm either wrong and you guys make fun of me, or I'm right and I have to shut up about it because we're all just...
No one will remember if you're right. No one will. We only grave dance.
Here's where I'm just a
NFC
bit
West.
curious. I just want to kind of see the logic or what Damon, how he came to 4-3. So we look at 7 games and it's against teams that I think 5 of them were under 500, where the Cardinals went 6-1 against sub 500 teams last year. You got the Seahawks, who were the only team outside of the Packers that were over 500. They're going through a little bit of a facelift. Like, who do you have them losing to in the first 7 games?
Yeah, it's a great question.
It is a phenomenal question, Bo. And, I think a lot of people at home were wondering the same thing. That's why you're a big J and why, Gannon respects so much your ability to ask these questions.
Yeah, there it is. Yeah.
That's what we call a filibuster in the business. But here, I pulled up the schedule. When I was, doing this in my head, I had a loss to the Niners. I had a loss to the Packers, and I had a random loss to a team that the Cardinals shouldn't lose to on paper.
Okay.
So they're back to not beating good teams then. So we're doing this again, where like you beat the teams you're supposed to, and then you're losing to good teams. Like, I don't agree with that.
And I put it in the comments here. If I could change to 5-2, I would, but I'm going to stand on business here and go 4-3 because I feel like I have to.
I'm going to give you the business, and I'm going to tell you that you've made a huge mistake. You made a huge mistake, my friend. So they're, in your opinion, they're losing to the Packers and the 49ers, and also either the Panthers, Saints, Titans, or Colts, any of which would be vomit-inducing losses.
But not
and then
Seattle?
if you lose to Seattle, you're basically got a death nail because you're starting 0-2 in the division.
Yeah.
Damon, everything you just said, I hate so much. And
I already know who it is, Johnny. I know the mystery team.
Yeah, I do too. It's
I
Ted
can hear him
McMillan.
humming it.
It's
No,
Ted
I can hear
McMillan's
him.
Carolina Panthers.
I hear him humming right behind the Mac. He's going,
This is
"This
not
is
our
our Colts.
This is not our Colts.
team. We love you."
You got to come into the fortress that is Lucas Oil Stadium.
I already made a prediction for that game that the Gannon and Rawls are shutting out Daniel Jones that game. When I can bet that game, like when the props are unveiled for that game beyond just the line, and I can bet shutout, I will bet shutout, and I will share my ticket on this show. The Colts are not scoring against the Cardinals defense. Who's on that team? Michael Pittman, he's all right. Jonathan Taylor, who's old
he's very
now.
mid.
Yeah.
Yep.
They took a tight end, and people are like, oh, my goodness. Thank goodness they did. And Tyler Warren, who's going to get him the ball? Like Anthony Richardson, they're like, he's yoked now. It's like, great. Can he throw the ball? I don't think he can. Yeah. So I love the Cardinals. I think they're going to have a defensive score that game. I think it's going to be one of the most dominant performances of the season.
Yeah.
Kyler Murray in that dome. Hello.
Danny Dimes, Anthony Richardson. By the way, we got tagged in a deep ball, like statistical analysis. Some fantasy site broke down like each quarterback's 20+ yard completion percentage with a clean pocket. Kyler Murray did not have good numbers. I think he was like near the bottom of the leagues, huh?
Didn't we know that though?
Yeah, he just didn't have. He had like a 51% accuracy rate in that, and you like to see that number go up. But give me your take on this statistic when Anthony Richardson is QB2 in that list. Anthony Richardson was the second best quarterback as far as his downfield accuracy. Like, and Jaden Daniels is sitting there right with Kyler Murray near the bottom of the list. Like, okay, it's a problem. It's something you want to see improve. But are we really going to put a lot of stock into something that Anthony Richardson was one of the best in the league at?
I don't take anything away from him because I know Kyler Murray used to be one of the best deep ball throwers in the NFL. Like, what's changed? If his arm strength is fine and it's an accuracy thing, or I think it's a timing thing with Drew Petzing and the receivers in this offense, I think it's largely a byproduct of not on the same page with back shoulder fades with Marv. And I don't think he's been given enough chances to be able to throw deep either. That part of the offense has been broken. And it didn't matter who was playing quarterback, wide receiver, offensive line, running back. With Drew Petzing as the offensive coordinator, they have not been able to master a deep passing game. And do I think if Kyler Murray went elsewhere and had an offensive coordinator who up until this point has shown that he did it under Cliff. He was one of the best. He was the best deep ball thrower under Cliff Kingsbury in the NFL. So I'll put ownership on K1, but I'll put ownership on the other parts as well. Like that was the thing that torpedoed this team last year. Outside of edge pressure, their deep passing game failed them last year. So I would imagine that that's been a big priority for them to work on this year.
Were we getting into the Shamar Stewart saga?
Let's do one more quick break and come back and talk about it because I
also have some news as far as the Cardinals this upcoming summer. We got some not breaking news, but semi new news.
Wow, that's a hell of a tease. That's coming up. PHNX Cardinals. It's not breaking news, but it's news. I got breaking news. You want to save money on an elite flooring
news?
This is hot off the presses here. EmpireToday.com/PHNX going to save you $350 on a discount with the bonus code PHNX right now. Elite flooring, virtual floor design, a great way to see how your new floor is going to look in any space. Trust me, as somebody who recently bought a new home last year, I knew the infrastructure of your house starts with your flooring. Don't go cheap on quality, cheap on customer service. Go elite with the elite. EmpireToday.com. They pride themselves on their convenient shop-at-home experience. They help customers shop for floors they use in their floors so they can see exactly what their new flooring is going to look like. They service their own warranties. If an issue does arise on the job, again, they take care of it. You won't have to track down a manufacturer's phone number. This is an all-inclusive one-stop shop. Schedule a free home estimate today. Again, all listeners, $350. That's a substantial discount. Can be yours with the bonus code PHNX. Restrictions apply. See EmpireToday.com/PHNX for more details, Bo.
Empire Day crushes as far as your flooring needs. Have you ever gotten to the end of the month and you say, where the hell did all my money go?
I say
our friends over at Monarch Money, they're going to put an end to that. Between food delivery apps, last minute online shopping, ride shares, they all add up fast, right? You got all your streaming services. You're trying to just watch each and every NFL game, and you got to shield out a bunch of cash. But look, you got Monarch Money. That's where they're going to come in. They're going to be your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control. And you can just stop earning and start actually growing your money. There's more than just a budgeting app. Monarch is the complete financial command center where you can manage your accounts, track investments, set goals, and actually build the life that you want. Check them out right now. I think tracking your spending is crucial because once you know where your money's going, you can start putting it towards what really matters. I want to save for my kids' future, and Monarch helps me stay focused on that. Check it out right now. With all your accounts, credit cards, investments in one place, you'll know exactly where you stand without spreadsheets and without headache. Get control of your overall finances with Monarch Money. Use the code PHNX at monarchmoney.com and get half off your first year. That's 50% off at monarchmoney.com with the code PHNX.
Monarch Money is going to be money for you. Unlike Shamar Stewart, who I guess is still waiting on his money. This is via Lindsey Patterson, as well as our guy Jordan Schultz on Twitter. First round pick, Shamar Stewart, who was selected right after Arizona, pick 17, will reportedly remain sidelined as phase 2 of offseason workouts begin today due to, quote, a disagreement over contract language in his rookie deal. Interesting decision by Shamar Stewart to choose openly not to practice when the rest of the league is getting after it for a player that I love somebody pointed out in the comments earlier, Walter Nolen more sacks last year as a defensive tackle than Shamar Stewart as an edge rusher. I feel like this is I don't think this is going to end well. I just get that vibe. I could be wrong, but again, had he signed his contract by now, it would have been, just a little footnote. But if you're the Bengals, after what's gone on with Trey Hendrickson, and you've botched that situation, do you want a mulligan? Is a mulligan necessary here for a kid that, again, we talk about it. Are you about football? Are you about team? Are you about buy-in? This is a tough look, and I'm very pro player, by the way.
Right. No, yeah. Look, I mean, you should be it's set up with the agreement in the CBA that this should be pretty plug and play. Like, very rarely do we see these holdups, especially with first round picks. And when you do, it's about this offset language. But if you're an organization that doesn't have any margin for error, especially on that side of the football where they struggled so mightily, and they're at odds with their best player on that, like you don't have any opportunity to mess around. You need Shamar Stewart, and he's a polarizing prospect to begin with. Like, he's a guy that had 4.5 sacks in 3 seasons. Like, you need to get him acclimated to the NFL level as fast as possible. And like, he's 18th over, no, he's 17th overall. He was a pick behind Walter Nolen. Walter Nolen hasn't put ink to paper on his deal, but Walter Nolen's out there participating. How was there so big of a screw up that Shamar Stewart and his representation was just like, whoa, I'm not even going to, in good faith, get out there with my team right away. I'm going to shut it down until you guys figure this out. That's pretty absurd to me. Like, that's how bad and cursed and just poverty this franchise is.
Yeah, I don't think this ends well for anybody. Again, like I see some comparisons to Isaiah Simmons in the chat, and while Simmons participated, you just kind of get a vibe from a player when you see him kind of communicate through the media. And Shamar Stewart was a player that had to come in, to your point, and I think really kind of quiet his critics, show up to camp and be like, oh man, we were wrong about this guy.
Yeah.
His attributes do translate. He was misused at the collegiate level. Now it's like people probably texting Aaron, probably like, good luck. He's yours now. That's 1.5 sacks for the last 3 years. Other guys were balling out in that system, putting up gaudy numbers. So whenever he
that was with Lou Anarumo. Like, they're going to they brought up from the college ranks. They brought in Al Golden, I think was with like Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Was he their DC?
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yep. Former Miami Hurricanes head coach, filled there. Like, so you got a new DC, you got your best player holding out, you got your top pick holding out. I mean, my God, like, somebody, Joe Burrow, just like blink twice if you're in trouble. This is a disaster class with what's going on with the Cincinnati Bengals by far. Like, when you look at just the organizational power rankings, like, Cincinnati has to be a dead last right now, just with how things have gone this offseason.
Yeah, and there's good vibe. This is the time of year for good vibes. Panthers have good vibes. Somehow the Bears, not so much with that Caleb story, but they're, even the lowly Tennessee Titans have some good vibes. Yeah. The Browns are frauding it up on Twitter.
Have you guys seen what Panthers fans are predicting?
I
mean, you talk about Panthers fans having good vibes. They're losing their minds right now. They're talking about, I'm seeing tweets that are like, tell me how we don't start 7-0. I'm being dead serious. I was in the comments on one of them being like, what the hell are we talking about here?
I've never needed a win more in week 2. Like that game, that we do need to make Bryce Young look like a grade schooler in that game. There's a lot of fraud in it up right now. And that's what's great is, like, they drafted Shamar Stewart to be somebody that can come in and immediately help and fix their defense that was atrocious last year. The Cardinals didn't draft Walter Nolen to like fix their defense. They drafted him to be a developmental piece that will make an impact, but you don't have crazy expectations. Like, the longer this goes with Trey Hendrickson, whether he's dealt or not, or he holds out, like, they have nobody. We read their depth chart the other day. It's laughably bad. So that franchise, to me, it's a miracle they even got extensions done with Chase and Higgins. I'm sure that was incredibly led by Joe Burrow, but that team just screams to me like 7-10, 8-9 every year, cheap ownership, not paying their head coach very much money. Like, say what you want about Michael Bidwell. Like, the Cardinals spent this offseason, spent a lot of money, right? were aggressive in getting Gannon and Austin Ford, have empowered them. You know, they made the announcement about the new training facility. We're anxious to hear an update about that. Like, they are proactively trying to improve. The Bengals are basically just like, yeah, we signed our triplets. Now we're good. We're back to just being a poverty franchise.
If you're with one of our many streaming partners, jump on over, go phnx.com. Appreciate you listening, watching. But the journey continues heading into OT. It's crazy. Like, I'm looking at the back end of their schedule. Yeah, they get the OT one over the Cardinals, and congratulations. You deserve that. That's great. They got trounced the following week, 48-14. Like, the last real game they played, they didn't even show up, and they're like, man, riding that wave. We lost 48-14 to a division rival in Tampa Bay. They lost to Dallas without Dak before the Cardinals win. They're riding a lot of, I think, fraudulent momentum. And that's fine. I think that's good for the Cardinals, because you look at them, if the Panthers go into their season where they've got a very winnable game against Jacksonville in week 1, you know, hopefully they're reading their headlines and they're coming in like, we just beat this team and we're riding this wave. Like, you hope that they have this false belief in themselves.
I like their draft class: T-Mac, Scorton, Princely, ETN, Lathan Ransom, Cam Jackson. Like, they had a good draft on paper, and listen, that draft class isn't going to culminate in week 2, but I'm sure if you're a Panther fan, you've been eating it, you've been in the mud for a while. You just like I try to do on this show. Like, when we have an opportunity to talk our grief, we will. Like, we will talk badly about other teams as much as we can, because our windows are so refined. Bo, you had some news pertaining to the Cardinals' potential preseason or training camp schedule. What can you tell us?
Yeah, so this was via the Broncos. They did a breakdown more of the Broncos preseason, and the Arizona Cardinals open up. They're not open up. Week 2 of their preseason will be in Denver. It's their lone road game during the exhibition slate. It is against the Broncos. And along with that, they're going to have a joint practice that's going to be on Thursday, preceding the August 16th game in Denver against the Broncos. It's going to be there at Wally World, Walmart facilities there with Denver and our friends at DMVR. So, looking forward to doing that. Hopefully hitting the road again, just like we did in Indy, and getting out there and watching the Cards compete. It should, talk about a big test for this offense. And like, we don't anticipate the Cardinals changing their, preseason routine and expecting a lot of starters to play once again, but they do utilize this joint practice kind of as like the big dress rehearsal. Like Kyler Murray, Marvin Harrison Jr., Patrick Surtain, that big time defense, VJ, like some that's going to be maybe some popcorn right there. It's going to be Tom Cruise awkwardly eating popcorn at the Mission Impossible,
throw it at my face.
Premiere. So
Damon,
can't wait for that.
Yeah, interesting. Bonix, I might be selling stock on that this year. Damon Dawg
is that the humble pie that they're gonna need? Like, Bo Nix has just a catastrophic practice.
Bo Nix intercepted 3 times today by Garrett Williams in the joint practice. It's just practice reps, friends. It'll be fine. Damon, let's see that tweet you got. Damon pulled the Panthers tweet. There it is. Bryce, the one on Twitter. We have, according to this gentleman, a legitimate shot to start the season off 7-0. That's certainly a choice.
I can't definitively say they win any of these games.
There's a better chance they're 1-6 than 7-0.
Yeah, I agree.
It's not. I'm not even joking about that.
Like, they could legitimately lose to Jacksonville, Duval, and then you got Cardinals on the road. Like, they're not better than Atlanta, and I think Drake May and crew could beat them. Miami could absolutely beat them. Dallas could beat them. In New York, we'll see. But this guy's feeling it, huh?
That's what
the worst part is. They're like, half the replies are like, "You are so right, my man. I was thinking the exact same thing." Like, this is not a opinion that is, he doesn't share it alone. It's insanity.
the offseason's a hell of a drug. That's great. I needed that, Damon. Thank you for that. Those tweets give me life. Even like when Bo and I were optimistic about last year, like I think you had 9-8 and I had 10-7, and they were like on pace to eclipse that. The Cardinals were ahead of schedule, and then they had a tough stretch. Like Carolina hasn't won anything since Cam Newton and Ron Rivera have been there. They've been one of the worst run franchises, and I just don't think they have very many good players. I think they're banking on New Orleans just being the worst team in the league, which I think we can all agree is likely. And then maybe a regression from Tampa. And then, is Bryce Young better than Michael Penix? I think that remains to be seen. Let's get to your super chats here. Everybody drop a like on this show. We're starting things off with Gage, $2. Uh-oh, Bo. And Damon. Big Red stealing your girl, Damon Dawg. How about it?
Oh, no, Damon.
Big Red did steal a lot of my flow, and he did it at a higher level, to be quite honest with you. So I only have to say what I responded with to the initial tweet that we had from PHNX Cardinals, which is game respects game.
I think it's safe to say that Damon had an immense amount more aura than Big Red in his respective photo with Ruby Rose, and that's what we're talking about. Ruby Rose was twerking with Big Red. There's more shock value. That's fine. You can.
What we have is real.
Yeah, what you guys have is something that it can't be. Just be something that's special. Exciting on the internet.
Let me just put this out there.
Real.
I loved the photo of Big Red and Ruby Rose. With that being said, what do you think the fallout is of the Cardinals seeing that photo? Knowing what we know about our favorite team, they probably really liked it. They probably were like, "This is what we want." That right there.
Let's talk about They go into the Monday morning board meeting, and they're all the powers that be, and they're just like, "Well, how'd the Kyler event go? It looked like it went off without a hitch." Yeah. Kyler really successful. Everybody had a good time. Great. Was the mascot out there? Oh yeah. Big Red was out there. Anything? Just interacting with fans
in the picture. He's like, oh. People, I sent that to our group chat, and either you or Espo or somebody was like, "That has to be like AI or fan edited," and then it was like, "Nope, definitely not. Love it though. That's the kind of stuff like you want to get some press for this team. I'm about that. I want press for this team no matter what.
I think Big Red needed some good press.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now you
always hear about the gorilla, D. Baxter always gets good run. Big Red
take some risk. Just like you revamp your pass rush, take some risk with your mascot. Burgain Travel, $10. Again, thank you. Not necessary. We appreciate you, Tyler. Hi, chat. It's a hell of a plug. Who's coming to New Orleans and Dallas? $200 discount until May 31st. Get it now. Jake the Snake Plumber partying with us in New Orleans. Stadium tour in Dallas. Payment plans are available. Well, I can tell you a couple schlubs that are going to New Orleans right here. Your boys.
That's right. We'll be in the Big Easy. Cannot wait to be there with Jake the Snake. Yeah, reserve your spot. I think that is incredible that you can pay through installments. You can absolutely finance this. Get yourself to New Orleans and have a great time. I mean, nobody does it better than our friends over at Bird Gang Travel, Tyler and crew, birdgangtravel.com. Get yourself locked in because you're not going to want to miss it. A lot of excitement going on to the season opener, and $200 off. And I believe we still got the PHNX swag bag still up for grabs as well.
Love that. Big thanks to our friends at Bird Gang Travel, the premier travel for the Arizona Cardinals fan experience. And we're just getting started. So, again, check them out right now. Bonus code PHNX. Jackson, $199. Have there, Bo, been any free agents out there? I guess we're signing or pursuing for this team. I have not seen any. Poor Kazir White cannot. I mean, it's May 20th. Guy doesn't have a new team yet. I saw ESPN did some schlubby article, best fits, and threw Keenan Allen there with the Cardinals. Again, like just poor connecting the dots here with the Cardinals.
Yeah.
Have you heard anything?
No, I mean, the Cardinals roster right now is maxed out. It's at 90, 91, and they'll make obviously a roster exemption. I think they're going to throw the undrafted rookie free agent out of UConn. Is it Val Sen? He takes over the international exemption, I think, once we get started here officially. Val Sen. So, yeah, we'll see as far as if they want to make any moves. Some people were anticipating a wide receiver addition, but it really feels like they'll probably just move forward with the status quo, where it's Marv, it's Michael Wilson, it's Greg Dortch, it's Zay Jones, Xavier Weaver, Quez Watkins. It looks like they're pretty content with that going forward and seeing what that's about first before they do anything, once training camp starts.
Yeah, they got to see the players that they do have, and if they're ready to make an impact. You typically bring veterans in where you're like, well, we're not as strong at this unit like we thought, but this is an athletic Cardinal team that we talked about, Bo, and we're going to continue to talk about it. They're going to cut good players. This is the first time in a long time. Z Torres, one of our newest diehards, 199, 4-3 Damon. Bad dog.
Love that from our guy Z Torres. Anything in response to that? You just put your tail between your legs.
Yeah, I think this is one of those situations where you definitely have to, rub my nose in it a little bit once 5-2 happens.
Go to your corner.
We got a puppy. I'm doing a lot of that these days. I've seen the look far too often.
It's not funny.
It's not.
No, I'm saying like you're like it's actually not funny
guys,
at all.
But there's no joking around about dogs or having issues, incidents, accidents. T. Clary, let's move on. Thank you, $4.99. Love the coverage, fellas. Love that. Thank you so much, Terry, our guy, checking in. Loves the coverage. We love our community that we're a part of here, and people who have been so loyal like yourself. And thank you so much.
I agree with this next super chat before I even read it. Taco Corp $9.99. Jonathan Gannon will overtake Bruce Arians as the best coach in organization history. Alpha in the room, players coach who brings high character, talented players who want to run through a wall with them. Future is bright. I agree with that. And that's not a knock on Arians. I remember when Arians was hired, I was sitting with my dad and it was like, great. You got the NFL coach of the year. He had taken over for Chuck Pagano, but he was 60 years old. And you always felt like there was a shelf life there and he had some health problems before. And you got a phenomenal, 5 to 6 year stretch with Bruce that you can't replace in Cardinals history. But again, the shelf life, even the players that you brought in, old Carson Palmer, right? Older Dwight Freeney, they had a window. Whereas the Cardinals with Jonathan Gannon, what they're building with Austin Ford is not meant to necessarily have windows. There'll be phases, there'll be stages, right? But this is not an all-in approach. This is for sustained success. I think this is the year. If they get to a winning record, a postseason, and you start to see the momentum, I agree with that 100. I tell Bo this every time we talk about Gannon. I think he is in the Vrabel-esque caliber where I don't know what his highest heights can be. I don't even know if he knows. But you're not going to have those lean years of 5-12, 6-11. I think your floor is always going to be you're in the hunt, and it's really going to come down to quarterback play and roster construction because he gets the most out of his players.
And Monty Austin Ford, I think we'll continue to see what he's made of. But I think he's kind of cleared each and every step along the way from breaking it down, building it back up. And, we'll see how he can do as a team with expectations and contending expectations and sustaining that success, and how you can kind of work the roster once you have that success and you have players asking for more money in a cap league, which always becomes, a bit of a challenge. That's why people love the NFL. But I think JG, unlike BA, has been, coupled with somebody with an idea, with an eye on the future. We're never rebuilding. They're realistic. They'll be realistic about where they are and where they need to improve each and every offseason or throughout that regular season. Can they trade future assets to help supplement the roster in place? And I think, Austin Fort is well equipped for that. So, it's going to be the brain trust going forward. And there's a lot of confidence in it that's going to be here for a while.
It's time to win games, as Jonathan Gannon said. I'm paraphrasing on our show. And I think JG is the best thing that this franchise has going right now. I know many people around the organization feel the same thing. How do you feel? How do you feel about these rookies? Will Johnson, Walter Nolen? Let us know in the comments. Drop a like on this show. Big thanks to everybody. Big thanks to Budda Baker for his presser today, Bo Brack. We got some more shows to do this week. We're having fun here in the off season.
Yeah, we'll have more interviews from the Kyler Murray softball, celebrity softball game. Trey McBride. How about Michael Wilson, James Conner? We'll continue to put the interviews up here. Make sure you subscribe to YouTube on PHNX Sports here on YouTube. Follow along at PHNX_Cardinals. Johnny, did you get any excitement with the ability for NFL players to be in the Olympics?
No, I don't care about that.
I didn't really care either. The only thing I think I'd like to see is the quarterback from the flag football team that said he's just as good as Mahomes. I'd love to actually have Patrick Mahomes tell him he's cut.
I respect the Olympics. I'm just not a big Olympics guy.
Sean DePaz, former PHNX employee, he was tweeting this morning about Kyle Hamilton putting a South Korea emoji in response to that, and was speculating maybe Kyler could also play for the South Korean team, and that Kyle Hamilton and Kyler could potentially bring a silver medal to South Korea there.
Do you think that we would turn into like Nuggets fans where we are actively rooting against our home country like
100%?
I don't know if I would. I mean, I would root for success from Kyler, but I think I'm USA all the way.
Johnny would have a South Korean jersey on.
Can I just say something? Can we win games as a franchise before our players are risking their health in the Olympics?
Yeah.
Can we win games here first? It's like last year. Are we really going to lose position coaches and coordinators before we have a winning record? You can dick around with this with the Chiefs and whomever and the Eagles. They've won Super Bowls. Like, don't take our players yet. We need to win first. Okay. I don't need an under 500 season. It's like, oh, Trey McBride's going to the Olympics. Oh, Trey McBride's got a MCL sprain. It's like, no, this is first. Time to win games. But yeah, I respect the Olympic athletes.
Sports Hero said he wants Billy Price in the Olympics. At the Olympics, like working concessions, maybe selling some swag.
Jesus Christ. What if he ever watched this show?
No chance.
Maybe some concessions.
I guess there are. He's an Ohio State guy, right?
That was a first round pick of the Bengals. He's not selling concessions. Real quick, I know we need to end this show. What's Billy Price doing right now? Billy Price, he's 30 years old. God, I thought he was older than that. He announced his retirement last year, citing a non-sports related embolism suffered a month earlier. Well, that's sad.
That is sad. Don't read that stuff.
He has not been a consistent player since 2021. That's nuts. And then he just kind of bounced around practice squads, and he's one of the few players that have come from Ohio State that has been drafted early that just flat out could not play.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, interior offensive lineman in the 20s for the Ohio State, that'll work out. Nope.
Right. No.
Just can't play.
Dang.
It's tough.
Oh man. Fun show today. If you missed it, we'll get those interviews up. But thankful for all of you. The party continues. Of course, the exclusive member Discord. You can only get access to that. Go phnx.com by becoming a diehard. But lots of great stuff as we continue to roll out things from the celebrity softball game, and also talk to Budda today. We got more Marvin Harrison Jr. clips. It's all around this, building up to a big season for the Cardinals. Enjoy the rest of your Tuesday. We'll talk to you tomorrow right here at 4:30 PHNX Cardinals.
We all silly like the mayor.